Oh, okay. Okay, I'm giving the green light. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Seminoles in Service panel. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight, in collaboration with the Young Alumni Network, the Veterans Alumni Society, and the Student Veterans Center on campus at Florida State, we've put together some of the greatest minds in the veteran career space. We've gathered some pretty impressive vet alums, experts in getting vets quality jobs, and the dedicated folks at the FSU Alumni Association, all here to impart their wisdom on all of our audience members. Most importantly, we've gathered here tonight to do something that we can do everything we can to get our Seminoles who have served the most of their experience in Tallahassee and make sure that they can achieve incredible success upon their graduation and departure. My name is Andres Pascumbe. I'm an Army reservist, an attorney, and a proud Seminole in the class of 2012. I'm also a member of the Young Alumni Council and Florida State's Alumni Association. The Young Alumni Network aims to implement programs and activities that will engage recent graduates of Florida State University. Through this servant leadership, the council provides guidance to the staff of the Alumni Association on matters of concern to the young alumni. In conjunction with the Alumni Network, we've got an exciting program for y'all tonight. First, we're going to hear from FSU Alumni Association President, Julie Decker. Ma'am, take it away.
Unmute. Welcome, everyone. It is so great to be with you tonight. I'm Julie Decker, President and CEO of the FSU Alumni Association. As I said, I'm delighted to be here with you for Seminoles in Service, a webinar that is co-hosted by the FSU Alumni Network and the Veterans Alumni Society to celebrate our servicemen and women this Veterans Day. Now, as a granddaughter, daughter, and a niece of veterans, this is particularly special for me to be here with you this evening. FSU is ranked number 18 among public universities in its best national universities for veterans, and the association is committed to supporting veterans through our alumni networks and dedicated partnerships with the Student Veterans Center. Many of you tuning in this evening are members of the Alumni Association, and we thank you for your commitment to Florida State University. We simply could not do these programs without your support, so thank you. To those in uniform serving today and to those who have served in the past, we honor you and thank you for your service to our nation. Thank you for having me here today. I look forward to hearing from such accomplished veteran alumni. And thank you, Andres, for all of your work in bringing us together. It takes real leadership to ensure programs like this are happening, and you have done just that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, President Decker. Next, we're going to hear from the director of one of the best resources available for veterans on campus that I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the Student Veterans Center. Director Billy Francis. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Andres. I appreciate it. Want to welcome everybody. A shout out here from Florida State. And I want to let you guys know the so what, our post-service sense of purpose after we get out and we are transitioning is so important in transitioning into that next career. And a couple things I would just say before I turn it over to our panelists is I think you can't start early enough. 2 years or so is where I started in my transition. The other thing I would tell you is, in my experience, I've not seen a veteran preference that has been given, except for jobs that require like military skills, like contractors or things like that. What I've seen is at the end of the hiring process, the hiring authority always hires the best person. And if the second best person is a veteran, that's not going to get you the job. And so the challenge for us is to work together in getting to know each other and learning how to develop what that experience is, and then be able to communicate it so that at the end of the hiring process, we are the first choice for the hiring authority. And then I would say, you just got to be gritty and hang in there. we're here. I want to let you know that. I'm here. I'm at wfrancis@fsu.edu, and I'll walk through it with you. And I just want to encourage you and celebrate with you as you do achieve your post-service sense of purpose and land that career out of your transition from the military. So thank you very much, Andres, Julie. Thanks to the group, and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Director Francis. Next, I'm going to introduce our amazing panelists for tonight's discussion. First up, Ms. Melissa Ludlam. Ms. Ludlam currently serves as the Assistant Director of Benefits at the Student Veterans Center at FSU. Before taking the role of Assistant Director, she served as the Veteran Retention Specialist from 2015 to 2021. She's been employed by Florida State University since 2011, where she worked as an admission officer and academic advisor before finding her home at the Veterans Center. Melissa earned both her Bachelor of Science and Masters of Science from FSU. Although not a veteran herself, she brings her passion for serving veterans and their dependents, as well as her higher education background, to her crucial position. She supervises 2 full-time staff members, as well as approximately 6 work-study student veterans. And Melissa is also on the board of directors for FAVES, the Florida Association of Veteran Education Specialists, and CMTE, the Council on Military Transition to Education. Melissa, any opening comments you'd like to make?
Just saying thank you, Andres. And sorry, it seems my dog would like to also crash this party. So this is Lucy. She's very excited to be here. And we thank you for having us, and really excited to talk to you all and answer all your questions.
Furry friends are always welcome. Next up, we've got Dr. Abby Kinch. Dr. Kinch is a first-generation college student herself and is the Vice President of Programs and Services at Student Veterans of America, where she is responsible for the creation, implementation, and success of a myriad of functions designed to empower veterans in higher education. Dr. Kinch has participated in SVA as a chapter member and chapter president at Florida State, and an SVA student council member and an advisor. She's represented SVA in an advisory role before the United States Department of Veteran Affairs and the Department of Education. In Florida, she participated in the advocacy for legislation to provide in-state tuition to veterans and gap fund payments to vets with financial need during semester breaks. Following an enlistment in the U.S. Air Force as an airborne Chinese cryptologic linguist, Dr. Kinch worked for 6 years in the private sector using language skills the Air Force provided before going to school to finish her bachelor's degree and ultimately earn her PhD in public administration and policy from Florida State, specializing in strategy and decision-making. Her dissertation examined the policies of higher education institutions targeting student veterans and the implementation of those policies. She's written extensively on the topic from the institutional, state, and national perspective. Everyone, please welcome Dr. Abby Kinch.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. We're living in the world of Zoom, so I got people coming and going from behind me, so I apologize. I'm super stoked to be here. I was a student at Florida State from 2009 to 2019. And so, being a Seminole is near and dear to my heart. I'm excited to share whatever I can with the group, answer whatever questions you may have, and just stoked to see some old friends on the panel.
Awesome. And, I think a lot of people can probably relate to Zoom being like the new normal. So next we have Mr. Nathan French. Nathan French enlisted in the U.S. Marines directly out of high school and served 4 years with the infantry, where he made multiple combat tours. Mr. French says it was an honor to serve with the Marines, especially the Marines that he served with. After the Marines, French served as a correctional officer with the Florida Department of Corrections. And during his 6 years with the DOC, he attended the Florida State University. French earned his degree in industrial engineering from the FAMU FSU College of Engineering. During his time at FSU, French was heavily involved in the Student Veterans Center and was able to take advantage of the several opportunities that he believed played a critical role in his career success. French started with L3 Harris Technologies directly after graduating in the spring of 2017 as an associate quality engineer working on F-35 programs. Currently, French serves as the quality manager for L3 Harris's F-35 program and truly enjoys leading an excellent team of quality engineers. French returns to FSU as much as possible for recruiting on behalf of L3 Harris. Mr. French, the floor is yours.
Sure, thanks a lot. Looking forward to this conversation and a lot of the questions and conversations that come out of it. I think the big thing here is events like this, take advantage of every single one of them. Build your network, get to know other individuals, get your name out there, reach out, figure out what the world out there is looking for. So looking forward to it. I'm excited to see what comes out of this. So great to be here. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. French. Last but not least, we've got Mr. Rice. Tim Rice joined the Marine Corps in December 2012 as an anti-tank missileman and was stationed at Camp Lejeune, although some Marines claim that it's said a different way. So we'll see what Mr. Rice feels about that, in North Carolina for 4 years. During that time, Rice served as a battalion drone program coordinator. Upon leaving the service, Mr. Rice returned to his hometown of Melbourne, Florida, where he attended Eastern Florida State College and obtained his associate's degree. Rice then transferred to Florida State University to get his bachelor's degree in criminology. Rice served as president of Student Veterans of America, the Student Veterans of America chapter at Florida State. And after graduating from FSU, he attended police academy and was hired by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Capitol Police, where Rice currently serves as a uniformed patrol officer. Rice has utilized his prior military experience to become a member of the drone team at the Capitol Police. Everyone, please welcome our panelists. Mr. Rice, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andres. It's good to be here. I'm glad you guys had me. This is a great event to get some information out to people that are currently at school and, looking for what they can do to get their name out there and, have success after college. So thank you.
Awesome. So let's jump right in. Ms. Ludlam, we are so lucky to have you and have such great representation from the Student Veterans Center on campus here with us tonight. Thanks for taking the time to be with us, Melissa. Can you tell us more about what programs are available at the Vet Center and about the work study program that a lot of our panelists have taken advantage of?
Sure, Andres. Yes, thank you. So a lot of what we do, like Billy said, is kind of, help veterans look forward. And like he mentioned, getting started early. That's a big thing, getting started with the Career Center, thinking about life after education once they get to us. And work study is a big part of that. So the work study program is meant for those using VA education benefits. And so we only hire veterans in our office. So that's kind of part of our mission. So we are trying to be a beacon of support and success for veterans. Again, I apologize about Lucy here. She's all worked up right now. But so we hire veterans in our office, but the work study program does extend to dependents. And so there are a number of locations in our area that hire dependents as well as veterans. But we like to focus on that because that's kind of part of our mission. So helping those student veterans kind of get into education and find out those important things, how to use the Career Center, how to, figure out how to use academic advising and all those things that they may not be used to help them make that next step towards a career and finding out what they're passionate about and moving into that next step. One big thing for me working with a lot of work study students is kind of helping them think through, it may not necessarily translate. So what you did in the military is not necessarily what you would want to do career-wise. And so one of the funniest things that I've kind of worked through is my old boss, Cheryl, who is amazing, had a swear jar. And she would say, you're not in the military anymore. We're going to act professional. We're going to we're going to teach you how to live in the civilian world, because that's what a lot of them will do. And so that's really important to what we do in working with our work study staff.
Awesome. I know that some of our panelists also participated in that work study program. Do you guys have anything to add about that experience?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can throw in on that. I mean, so it's a major career booster. It really helps with you building your network up very quickly. Some of the aspects that Melissa's talked on. I mean, the civilian world does see us a little bit differently, and my first resume was certainly one for shambles, to put that out there. My first interview was absolutely horrible. You kind of walked into an interview as a sergeant trying to get a staff sergeant's position. That's very different in the civilian world. So how do you connect your military experiences, although they may not be technically relatable to what you're going into in a professional world. Certainly there's areas that you carry over, your leadership capabilities, the connection of how to actually drive something to closure, the work ethic, all of those kind of aspects can carry over. So that's one of the great things that program can help you translate those skill sets into a resume that shows off, hey, this is what I'm capable of, and this is what I can do on a regular basis. So yeah, absolutely. 2 thumbs up on the program. Use every advantage you got. And as Melissa touched on and Billy touched on earlier, get out there as early as you possibly can. Hit those workshops, those networking events, those career days. If you're a freshman, fantastic. I mean, as a recruiter, I love to see freshmen walk up to talk to me about certain things. You're a long shot from getting the job, but you're building a network very quickly, and you're understanding very quickly what the current corporations are out there looking for, and how to shape your future in order to hit that target when it's time. So yeah, absolutely.
Ms. Ludlam, are there any other programs other than the work study program that we should know about that are offered at the Vet Center?
So we do a lot of programming throughout the year, and a lot of that is in the way of events. We have a lot of really fun events. We actually have one coming up this week on Friday. It's our 10th anniversary, which is a really big deal. But also our student groups do a lot of events that are a lot of fun. So they do tailgates. They do a lot of philanthropic work. They do films. So a lot of cool stuff that goes on. And that's really to get student veterans networked with other student veterans, and just kind of be part of that FSU community, which is real fun. The programming on my side, like I mentioned, is a lot of VA benefits, which is really fun for me and my team. That's the important part. You know, if student veterans aren't getting paid, then a lot of the other fun events really don't matter a whole lot. So that's kind of my side of the house, is making sure that they get paid, get their benefits. But a lot of the fun programming, again, comes from the student side, and we like to let them kind of run with that. And that's part of them getting used to the FSU community, which is really so important.
Absolutely. Do you have any tips, best tips for vets that are currently in the midst of their studies at Florida State? And I think we could also extend this question to everyone else having been a grad of Florida State. Like, what should vets know that are currently in school right now about, you know, I guess post career? What should they be doing right now?
I think, and I can't emphasize this enough, I know a lot of us have said this, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but get started early. Like, before you step foot on FSU's campus, know about our Career Center. A lot of students don't know that our community can access that as well. You don't have to be a student to use the Career Center. You can walk in as part of the community, and that's such a great resource for us. And also get involved. One of the things I like to tell students is get uncomfortable, go out, meet people, do those things that you want to do, build your resume, build a network, because those things are so important. And one other thing I will say is get to know people on campus. You know, I love when students walk into my office and they're like, hey, I just walked by. Who are you? I'm Dr. Abby Kinch. I'm like, hey, I'm Melissa. It's so great to meet you. And I love when students do that and stop in, get to know people on campus, network. You never know who you'll meet. You'll never know what resume food that you'll have to leave with.
Nice. Does anyone else have any tips for current students that are also veterans?
I wanna echo what Melissa just said, not just because she gave me a shout out, though. Thanks for that. So I did the college thing in my undergrad, you know, ignoring everything going on campus. I did fine. It was fine. Whatever, it was fine. When I went for my master's, I got involved in the SVA chapter. I got involved in the Women's Student Union. I got involved in Greek life. I got involved in SGA. I got involved in every corner of campus. I was involved in. The experiences were night and day. Like, my undergrad was fine and I did fine and it was great, but my grad career was phenomenal. I had fun every day. I met so many new people that I'm still friends with now. I'm going to see him this weekend for the 10th anniversary. Stoked. And it was just a far superior experience because I wasn't, I didn't have these blinders on that just wanted me to graduate. Like there was an actual experience for me daily. And so any opportunity that you have to just find something you're interested in, like it doesn't matter if it's super professional, I don't know, a professional organization or SGA or something like that, or if it's fun like Greek life, or if it's like LARPing on Landis, it doesn't matter. Just find some people who share an interest with you and become friends with them, and they're going to last you the rest of your life, and they're going to increase your network. So bonus, but it's really about the campus experience.
Yeah, I can tag on to some things that one of the things that Melissa said was walk into the office, right? Walk into the center and talk to people and get to know people. I mean, absolute 100% true story. I was in the career center as much as I could possibly be in there, to a point where I think they started to like name tables after Nathan. It was ridiculous. No, not that bad. But one day, I remember I was actually at my college, the College of Engineering, and I get a text message from Billy, actually your wife, Lisa, that said, "Hey, Nathan, I know you've been in here a lot. We've talked a lot about a lot of different opportunities that you're after. There are some Disney folks down here that are looking for finance people. I know you're not finance, but maybe just an opportunity to make it a connection." But because of my constant interaction with people in the center, they understood what I was after in my career. They understood they understood my areas of, here's my top 3 places I would love to work. Here's my dream jobs, and I was able to go down there very quickly. I kept a suit and tie in my truck hung up at all times in order to be ready for something like that. But went down there super quick, was able to tag up and meet with these people, and by the end of it, I was actually ended up with a job offer from Disney to take on a position. Of course, I didn't take that at the time, but nonetheless, those minor connections that a lot of people just see as not all that important can be a game changer for you and where you want to go for your career. So absolutely take advantage of those meet and talks. Absolutely.
I'd say to caveat on to Melissa's talk about getting in with those groups and stuff like that, the student groups. As president of an SVA chapter, it's huge. I mean, I made a huge network of people just by going out and interacting. We get in with other student groups. We became close friends with the softball team, the parents of the softball team, like things like that help you grow out. And even outside of veterans, you learn and you get those connections by getting out and getting involved, doing events on campus, whether it's tailgating, whether it's networking events, these nights like the 10th anniversary coming up, anything that you get invited to, go out and do it. You'll meet someone that you will talk to later in life, or that can help you if you need, hey man, I'm really struggling right now, I need to find this. Someone that you met will have that answer. So I think it's a great thing to get out there.
Absolutely. We actually have a question from a viewer right now that Ms. Lidlam, you might be able to answer, or if anyone else knows the answer to this or a resource. Does anyone know any resources available for FSU veteran alumni who are looking to start a business? So any kind of access for entrepreneurial ventures. Anybody?
So the SBA, the Small Business Association, is obsessed with veterans. They're absolutely obsessed. They send us stuff all the time to send out to student veterans or to our alumni. So I mean, honestly, so abby.kinch@studentveterans.org, and I'll connect you if you'd like. But the SBA has a ton of resources and free like trainings and webinars and resources and all sorts of stuff that they love to give to veterans.
Awesome. And Dr. Kinch actually brings a great point. So we're going to share some with people who are interested, contact information of our panelists so that we can get you all in touch. So if you'd like that information, please put it into the chat so that our Alumni Association staff that are on here can populate that information and we can share that with you all en masse. Is there anyone else that wanted to contribute to that audience question? Okay, so
You're muted.
Hey, Andres, you went mute, man. We lost your vocals there.
oh, okay, all right. So I just missed all of that. Okay, so Mr. Sorry, this is the Zoom world. So Mr. Rice is actually our most recent graduate on the panel, and he had mentioned earlier in this conversation that he'd used the Vet Center and all of the advantages that he got from being a part of that and being a part of the Student Veterans of America as well. Mr. Rice, could you tell us how you used those careers at the beginning of your career at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Yeah, so actually, like I said, networking is so big. I know everyone here is going to talk about it at least 5 more times probably, but through the SDA, I got linked up with a good friend of mine. As I was looking into law enforcement, he was like, hey, my dad is the director over at Capitol Police. Have you considered them? Kind of took it in stride, whatever, no big deal, thought about it, weighed my options, got to the academy, went through the academy. Somebody else brought up Capitol Police. So I was like, it's not the first time I've heard of it. Like, let me look into this further. So I used those connections to find an opportunity for a great career, a great place to be. I probably never would have given it a second thought if it wasn't for those connections that I made and the people that talked to me and led me into this and helped me find this place.
Yeah, networking is extremely important and cannot be understated. If you don't mind me asking, what was the process? I know you just went into this, but the process of applying, getting through the academy, and did any of your past military experience help you through that?
Yeah, so typically, each law enforcement agency has a different process. FDLE is a very extensive in their backgrounds and things like that. So our process is a little bit longer than some, so you kind of have to be patient, but it's, you'll put in an application, you might wait a little bit, you'll get a response back. It'll either schedule you for an interview. That'll be an oral board, usually with like a sergeant, a lieutenant, a mix of those, a couple sergeants, a couple lieutenants, whatever. You'll do an interview. And the military side of things, that helps right there, just because you're comfortable talking to people. When you get up in a leadership position, how to talk to people, how to address people below you, above you, things like that. So it's not an intimidating thing to walk into an interview when you've been able to do that. The same thing, like I said, that when you get connected, you're talking to groups of people all the time. All of that helps into that. So go through an interview. Right after an interview, I did a PT test, did a written exam, things like that. Same experience that comes from the military helps you on all of that. You write things, you write warning orders, you write op plans, you are doing PT, whatever. Then you go to a supplemental application. You basically give everything about your life because they want to know everything. They will do background checks. They send people to your hometown. They check with old neighbors, new neighbors, everybody. They find out as much as they can about you, make sure that you're, a good candidate for the job. They will move on from that to a director's interview. So essentially our chief of police, you'll sit down with him and the deputy director. He gets an interview with you. If, he's asking what questions he needs to ask, get through all of that, get through the background. You come in, you move into 5 weeks of an in-house program, and then about 3 months of field training. Then you've got a year of probation. It's a pretty extensive process. It's about 6 months for a background and stuff like that, but it's a worthwhile thing. And like we said, military background and military experience plays into each step of it. Just being confident, growing your network, learning to talk to people, doing all that.
Awesome. You're also, you recruit for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, right?
Yes.
So what do you all look for in a potential hire?
So, I mean, we're really looking for military vets because we know, like I said, those things that you've got experience doing, you have life experience, you know how to talk to people, you know how to engage with the community. That's a big thing. I mean, we see people come in and out of the Capitol all day, whether that be legislators, whether it be guests, visitors, dignitaries, things like that. You know how to talk to people of all walks of life. You've got that experience. So we look for those people that are confident. You know, you don't have to come into this knowing how to be a cop. You don't have to, be perfect right off the bat. There's so much that we can teach, but those, indispensable things that you bring into it automatically without having to be taught are huge. Like I said, the confidence and things like that. I just got started trying to recruit. We actually just came to a First Friday event with the Veterans Center to reach out and talk to people and, have people come up to us, ask questions. And we hope to do more of that. We hope to do some mock interviews, things like that to help get the name out there to people and help people learn and get some experience in interviews.
Oh man, I miss First Fridays. That's that's a pretty cool gig, and it sounds like it's a lot of fun to work at the Department of Law Enforcement. So I hope that if anyone is in the audience and is interested in that career path, that they'll put their contact information there so we can get you in touch with Mr. Rice. We also have Mr. French on here, who's had a little bit more time in the workforce since graduation to develop a career with Department of Defense contractor L3 Harris. Mr. French, what can you tell us about finding that same success in a civilian career, and what are the soft skills that you learned while you were at Florida State that helped you find success in the civilian career?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think in the role that I'm in and in the programs that I work on and a lot of the issues that we run into, a lot of that is delivering data, right, in a way that people understand what that data is, the problem we need to go solve, and what we believe the solution to go solve X problem is, and then getting the support and buy-in from upper level leadership and then the finance backers, and how do we go drive conclusion on that, right? So how did Florida State help me with that? It helped me through the Veterans Center was a major help, right? Some of the relationships I built in there, and I will probably dote on the Veterans Center probably more than anybody on the panel will. Maybe minus Melissa, maybe minus there, but outside of that, I mean, I really enjoyed that entire time. Mock interviews are a huge thing. Take advantage of every single one of those you get an opportunity to go to. You're talking about building your comfortableness and sitting in front of a group of individuals and wanting to have a conversation about you. It's a weird skill to develop, to want to talk about yourself and sell yourself in such a way that that the person on the other end of that table wants to hear about. I think the other big thing is the resume building workshops. It's something I try to volunteer for every time as a recruiter at L3 Harris. I try every semester that we get an opportunity to have a seat at that table. I certainly try to have one there because it's a vital skill to have there as well. And through those, right, and as you begin to build through certain aspects and work with different organizations, you build this confidence in yourself of what you're really capable of, right? You start to learn more about what you're capable of and what you've developed in your time there in order to kind of drive forward. So I had a really neat opportunity while I was at Florida State to work with the College of Interior Design on a couple of different projects where their senior design project was developing a veteran specific rehabilitation center for folks that were dealing with PTSD. So you're talking about putting myself in front of a classroom full of, I don't know, 30, 40 students at a time on a couple of different occasions to talk through some areas that were very sensitive in my world and break those things down and say, here is a problem, here is a solution, and here's how I think we can attack that solution. Really neat opportunity to help kind of develop some of those skill sets. So, what you might think is not a vital tool, use those opportunities anyway. Get out in front of individuals, talk to other individuals. you're not going to have this, a fantastic career without growth, and not only growth in your career, but growth in yourself, right? So, yeah, those are the areas I think you should focus in on. Sure.
Absolutely. That's a great point. So I know that you also like to recruit for L3 Harris, and you've got a pretty cool job working on F-35s. So I know that there's folks in the audience, and I'm pretty interested to know as well. Like, what do you look for on a resume that lands on your desk? How does it stand out?
Sure. Sharpness is everything. I get, currently I've got a huge team. Our F-35 program is massive. At L3 Harris, we're one of the biggest suppliers to the F-35 program, for the Lockheed Martin portion of the program. It's an awesome jet, really cool thing to work on. Lots of fun stuff to build, and we supply a lot out there to them. And so we've got a very large team, and I'm constantly pulling more persons in. I've got 6 people in my current team now that are all from Florida State. That was done with absolute purpose. I'm not going to lie. I specifically target our folks out of Florida State. So I'm always looking for them. The biggest thing is for me on resumes, I need to see sharpness. What is it to me that value? What do I see as value, right, from that resume? And so the things I need to see is, what's your problem solving skills? Whether that problem solving skill was some skill set you learned on I'm a grunt. I'm just an old infantry guy in 03, right? Know how to shoot straight and blow things up. Those are the 2 things I'm really good at. And then I went to work for a prison. So, as far as technical skill sets rolling over into an engineering role, not a whole lot of carryover. But what the major carryovers were: how to solve problems, how to address hostile situations, drag those things down, and address the prioritization and execution mindset. So I show those skill sets off in those resumes. Engineers are one thing and one thing only: they're problem solvers in every aspect of it. And I think we've all got to be a portion of a problem solver in whatever role or whatever position you're working on in the professional world. So show off those problem solving skills. That's what I'm looking for in a resume, the biggest portion. The other thing is, I'm looking for something beyond academia. I'm looking for, Abby had mentioned it earlier, that community involvement, the outside of the classroom involvement. That's going to grow you a lot. It's going to challenge you differently. It's going to challenge you mentally and emotionally differently than just the classroom will. So looking for something that's outside of that realm. You can have the perfect, GPA and nothing outside of that experience. And, I'm kind of questioning, hey, what are we really able to juggle? How are you able to handle your situation around you? How are you able to prioritize the issues that you've got in front of you, and then go drive down on those? So show off all those skill sets. I think those are critical. And then sharpen that resume. The little things make a big difference. Just recently, I actually had a resume come across my desk, and I was like, wow, that's a fantastic resume. And I'm really interested in the person, but the name rang a bell. So I actually did a search through my emails and stuff, and I found the name again. And I had looked at this very resume, this very same person, about 1 year and 6 months ago. And I rejected them. I said, I'm not even interested. Told my recruiter, I said, I'm not interested in talking to this candidate. And it was because the resume just wasn't sharp. It wasn't crisp. It wasn't clean. It was hard to follow. It was hard to read. I needed to read an essay. I'm not after that. Use the Career Center to your advantage and go build that resume. You have no idea how vital that aspect is. I've got about 35, 40 seconds that I'm reviewing through in his resume. I'm looking very quickly at what we're going to be able to handle, and that's where I kind of zone in on people. So it makes a difference. Make sure it's sharp. Show off the problem solving skill sets. Show off your outside of academia work that you do on a regular basis, and I think that can really help bring you to the top of the pile.
That is fantastic advice, and something that all of us can learn. Brevity on your resume is incredibly important. Getting to the point, which is a skill that actually I think you'd learn in the military anyway. All right, so Dr. Kinch, you serve as VP of Programs and Services at Student Veterans of America. What programs do you have at SVA that we should be taking advantage of, that we need to know about, so that we can improve our chances of finding a job after we graduate?
Sure. So, well, the immediate one coming up is our national conference. It's actually just down the street. It's in January 6th through the 8th. The 8th, by the way, is my birthday, so you can come and hang out with me on my birthday at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. So basically, our national conference is this huge, it's the largest gathering of student veterans anywhere ever. It's a lot of fun, but one of the components is called the SVA campus. And basically what that is all of our partners, sponsors, supporters come out. They have booths, and they're really just ready to talk and sit and hire student veterans right there at the conference. So I went to my very first SVA National Conference in 2013, also in Orlando. Then turned around, became the Collegiate Veterans Association at the time president in 2013, and have been to all but one national conferences since then. And met with and talked to the same people every year. And by the time I finished, well, they were all waiting for me to finish my PhD, which took forever. But when I did, I had job offers from Google, from Disney, from E&Y, from Accenture. I had job offers from all over the place because I had built these relationships with these people, just going to this 3-day party and having conversations every time and letting them know who I was, letting them know about my problem solving skills, bringing my resume every time that I had tailored at the Career Center. So, there's huge opportunity there for peer networking, obviously talking to fellow student veterans from around the country, sometimes around the world, as well as opportunities to land some amazing jobs with some really amazing companies. Raytheon's there, Lockheed, Boeing. If I can offer some competition for Nathan, and just NASA's been there, so it's the entire gambit at the event. It's a really good opportunity. I did check just before coming onto this, and FSU is not representing at the national conference registration thus far. So Billy needs to get on it and get our SVA chapter going and ready to go to the conference. It's literally 3.5 hours down the road. So highly recommend it. We've also we do partnerships with organizations like 4Block, who does a lot of career placement. Most of our programming is internal to leadership development, chapter development, focusing on while student veterans are in school, getting the most, from their campus and their community and their fellow student veterans. But a lot of the partners that we have work with us to put on workshops. Google has an annual resume workshop that's coming up actually here pretty soon. Where they'll virtually right now sit down and go through your resume with you. But yeah, just interaction with a lot of our partners, which are some big names in the corporate world, as well as some heavy nonprofit and government partners. So honestly, just interacting with the SVA chapter and getting involved in national level programming will take you a long way toward landing a job. I mean, Tim said it himself. So yeah, January 6th through 8th.
Yeah, it actually sounds like it's quite a party, so I don't know why you would want to miss that. So hopefully folks will get involved with our student veterans chapter at Florida State. I think we should be able to share that contact information with you all for those of you that in the audience that are not members, but definitely become a member and get involved and meet some folks. Dr. Kinch, I don't know if you mind me asking, you've had an incredible military career in addition to your civilian career, and I'm wondering if there's any pieces of your military career that you have brought into your civilian career that you think would be beneficial for people to know.
Yeah, so honestly, it was when I was in the Air Force, one of the things that I got advice early from a friend who had been in the same career. I was airborne cryptologic linguist. He was too. He's like, listen, there are going to be a lot of opportunities. Just say yes. Just say yes. And so that's sort of been my mantra. It's sort of how I ended up being the SVA chapter president. How I ended up getting a master's degree and then a PhD. Right after my PhD, I was doing disaster management and national security consulting. But I got a phone call from a friend, also an FSU alum, who asked me if I was interested in coming to work for SVA. Said yes. So, you know, and here I am. So it's really sort of those opportunities. When I went to my first SVA National Conference, it was really one of the first big things that I did with student veterans on campus. And it was Ryan Taylor said, hey, you want to go to Orlando with us? And I said yes, right? So basically, there are going to be a litany of opportunities that present themselves to you, whether that's, you know, an event, maybe at the Career Center, or an opportunity to go speak to student government, or an opportunity to volunteer at the North Florida Veterans Stand Down, or, you know, to go to DC to advocate for student veterans nationally. You know, there are going to be all of these opportunities that just sort of show up if you're there. So when you show up, the opportunities do. And when you say yes to those opportunities, I mean, like, sky's the limit. When I was an undergrad studying a language I already spoke, you know, I was just in it for the job. Started saying yes to opportunities, and now I work as an executive at probably my favorite nonprofit organization ever, working with student veterans every day, doing what I love, getting to contribute to the research that I love. And I lead a charmed life because I, you know, didn't shy away from showing up and saying yes to opportunities.
Hey, Abby, quick note. I was just told by the current CVA president we have 5 going this year.
Bro, all right. I need like 10 from you.
I'll
Here's
tell
the
him
thing,
to-
it gets personal because we used to be in this competition with all the other Florida schools, and we have to stay strong, guys. We have to show up. So
So Abby, you said 6th through the 8th,
yeah.
January 6th. All right, I'm gonna let you watch me. I'm gonna put it in my calendar now. I'm gonna go in to whatever system we'll go ahead and line up. All right, I'm not, you know, we'll help you out there. Help us
Right
out.
on. Yeah,
Awesome.
there's like some, you know, there's serious rivalry. We could never let the University of Florida beat us. And I'm going to say right now, I think, I don't remember. I literally just looked at it. I think Miami's winning. So, guys.
Oh, God. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Can't let them
Can't
show
let
up
that
in their
happen.
cane or something. That stuff's just ugly.
Just pull in like me, right? So Ryan Taylor walked up and he's like, hey, you want to go to Orlando for the weekend? And I was like, shit, yeah, I do. Sorry, Melissa, I need to put something in the swear jar, but you know, grab some
Tell Cheryl, you're good.
right, grab some people around the vet center. Be like, you want to go to Orlando for the weekend? It's Abby's birthday.
So Dr. Kinch, you know, a great question is, how much does this cost, you know, to go to this event? What's the entrance fee?
I should know. Students is $220. And that includes food while you're there. Not some drinks, not all drinks. And all of the events that go along with it. We're gonna do this big thing at the end. I actually have a really cool meeting with Disney to see what we can do to sort of do a finale. It's gonna be super exciting. But but yeah, it's a really good time. Actually, Sebastian Younger is going to be there. He's an old friend of FSU. Actually, he came a couple times to the Student Veteran Film Festival. I met him a couple times because of that. He's an amazing person. So he's going to be there. Jamie Gray Hyder is going to be there. She comes back every year. She's an amazing person too. She was in Law and Order SVU. Also did some voice acting for Call of Duty. I don't remember. And there are a bunch of people. I don't even remember who they are. If you go to natcon.studentveterans.org, NATCON, there's a bunch of information. It's going to be a good time.
Cool. And we will drop that link into the chat as well, so that people can look up that. We're going to switch into some audience questions right now. So anyone in the audience, if y'all have a question for our panelists, please go ahead and put it in there. We already have one. If anyone can answer this. I'm currently active duty in Japan. Oh, wow. Props to you for getting onto this panel at this time. I would assume it's probably the middle of the day there right now, or maybe even morning. I'm not actually sure. But, props to you for doing this. Currently active duty in Japan and an FSU graduate, MBA 15, transitioning into civilian life. My plan is to attend law school. Can I access the Career Center remotely while I prepare for my transition? Let's see, who is best to answer this question? Ms. Ludlam, do you have any idea?
Well, it looks like Julie already did, but I just wanted to add. So I know Julie put her personal contact information in there, but we also have a veteran liaison, Kevin Pierce, who I think might also be on the panel. If he's okay with it, we can he already did put his contact info in there. So kevin.r.pierce@fsu.edu. He's also one of our liaisons. So either him or Julie, I think, could be of great service to you, Richard.
Okay, so to our friend in Japan, the email address is in the chat. Please find that. And if you do not, contact one of us, that will be putting our information so we can get you Kevin Pierce's information and so you can get that information. I'm saying information a lot. All right, anyone else have some questions? Well, this is actually an interesting question that Nathan kind of answered in the chat. Mr. French, what is it that you do for F-35s? This person in the audience did some early test flying for the Cirrus SF-50 and still flies a lot. And a couple of colleagues flew F-35s. But can you tell us, I know a lot of this is probably, you're unable to tell us, but can you tell us a little bit what you do with F-35s?
Yeah, sure. So in our Brevard campuses here at L3 Harris, we build what we call the brains, the eyes, and the ears of the F-35, really. The communication systems that allow our F-35s to talk to one another, as well as ground forces. We develop and manufacture a lot of our radar systems. And then our biggest portion that we're currently under contract with is the ICP, the Integrated Core Processor. We also do some electronic warfare stuff. So some pretty cool stuff with that. So lots of boxes. I mean, really at the end of the day, at the manufacturing line, what you'll see is a big rack. We load that up with multiple different modules that do a suite of different things. Those are then shipped out to to Lockheed Martin's facility out in Fort Worth, Texas, where they're integrated into the F-35. I've had some pretty awesome opportunities to be on site and working with our engineers and manufacturing operations teams at the Lockheed Martin site. Super cool place. If you're ever out in Fort Worth and you get a chance to go and walk through that, do a tour. Really neat. It's like 1.1 miles long. It's just one big assembly line of F-35s right down the line. I think it's really cool that you fly those stuff. It's absolutely, so I mean, just as, it's kind of neat for this audience and us to be able to talk to our, where we used to be, right, in our world of life. It's really awesome at where I work when pilots actually come back and tell us how important it is for the technologies that we've developed and built and manufacture and put on that F-35 and make that F-35 the capability machine that it is. So it's really neat to hear back from some of those pilots and some of those flight techs. that's able to come and talk to our team. It inspires them, it drives them. We're under quite a bit of pressure right now because of some of the schedule shifts and changes that need to happen in order for us to stay above and beyond some of our enemy groups out there, right? So it's one of the reasons I love my job, because, you know, I haven't had to let go of the giving back portion. You know, I love the Marine Corps, love serving with the Department of Corrections, and now I get this awesome opportunity to continue to provide for our armed forces out there in some extent. And so it's a really cool part of the gig. So yeah, absolutely. It's a great thing to do.
Sounds really cool. I hope that someone in this audience throws a resume your way in the future and mentions that in that they, you know, they saw you on the panel in their cover letter or something, and, you know, grabs your attention, because it seems like a really cool job to have. So
yeah, I mean, hit me up on, I mean, I'm out there on LinkedIn. I actually was just looking at that a moment ago because my phone went off, and somebody even in this audience group has already reached out to me on LinkedIn. It's like, hey, I'm currently on the thing. So yeah, absolutely. Hit me up. Let me know what's going on. If there's a way I can help you, shoot me a resume. I'm willing to review it. You know, we can walk through some of that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever it takes to get you landed where you want to go.
Awesome. We actually have some advice from Mr. John Scott from the class of 68 that I think everyone should hear. 1, get a mentor to guide you in whatever search you are in. 2, as Dr. Kinch said, be able to say yes. 3, be flexible for locations, etc. 4, resumes are good, but having a referral from someone to someone else is how I got most of my jobs in the 40 years of Army and civil service and corporate experience. Yeah, the referral thing is big. I can second that, and I think most of our panelists would as well. You know, if you reach out to any of these panelists or me and are interested in any of their fields for, you know, some sort of, you know, coffee, whatever we have to do in this day and age, I think that we would all be willing to help you, and, you know, if we get to know you well enough, eventually be a referral for you. And so that's something that is great advice from Mr. Scott from the class of 68. So thank you, Mr. Scott. Do we have any other questions? We're at 9 o'clock and we did just move back an hour in time. So I know that folks are pretty tired. We also interrupted your dinner hour. So going once, going twice. Okay, any other questions that people have? Feel free to send them to okay, so we haven't shared email addresses yet, but we will share email addresses and share questions. And honestly, you can just use my email address. It's and then, oh, okay. All right, so we'll just put our email addresses in the chat, because that actually is probably the easiest way to go about this to everyone. Yeah, so feel free to send us any questions. And if you want to be connected with someone else, we'll try to help you. I want to thank Director Francis, President Decker, the FSU Alumni Association, the Young Alumni Network, the Veterans Society, the Veterans Center, all of these different you know, groups, organizations, individuals, each of our panelists for coming together on this evening and, you know, interrupting your dinner and trying to make our Mondays a little bit less scary. We really, really, really appreciate all of your efforts in this, offering your time, your hearts to help out fellow students. And thank you to each one of our audience members that came in and came here to learn something. I hope you learned something. I hope you got something out of this. And remember that we're all here to help you. So with that, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Thank you for joining the Seminoles in Service panel, and have a wonderful evening. Good night, everyone. Going on.